Hi, this is Bill Bronchick, and this week's discussion is when to use a land trust versus an LLC. This is a common question I get in emails and in calls from my students is using a land trust to hold title to a property versus using an LLC. Do I use one or the other? The answer is you use both, and here's why. The land trust is strictly a privacy device. Creating a land trust, creating a trust where you put a property into a trust, creates privacy of ownership. Why is that important? Ask yourself this question. Do you want everybody knowing everything that you own, whether it be business partners, competitors, your ex-wife, the government, anybody else who may be watching what it is you do and how you do your business, your tenants, or anybody else that may be looking? The land trust creates a layer of privacy by creating a shield where it makes it very difficult for people to look up and see who the owner of the trust is. A land trust is a privately created document, a privately created agreement, which is only known to the trustee and beneficiaries of the trust. The land trust agreement is not recorded anywhere in public records, so the only way for someone to find out who the owner of the trust is to ask the trustee, find out who the beneficiary is, or to get a court order, all of which are difficult, expensive, and time-consuming. So you can see the benefit of using a land trust to hold title to a property. Well, then how does the land trust fit in with the limited liability company, or LLC? Well, beyond the trust is owned by the beneficiary. The beneficiary of the trust has liability for what goes on in the property. Let me explain that again. The beneficiary of a land trust has liability. So say, for example, someone slips and falls on the property. Who are they going to sue? The owner of the property. Who is the owner of the property? Well, technically, it's the land trust. Well, under state law, the beneficiary would be liable for what goes on in a land trust because of the way the land trust is set up. The land trust directs the beneficiary directs the trustee what to do, and therefore would be liable for anything that goes wrong on the property. The land trust will give you some protection from contractual type disputes, such as unpaid property taxes, such as homeowners association dues, and in some cases contractual disputes between the owner of the property, the land trust, and maybe the tenant, who is the other end of the contracting party of a contract, a lease. But when it comes to negligence claims or liability claims, clearly a beneficiary of a land trust has liability. That's where the LLC comes in. The LLC would be the beneficiary of the land trust on the second layer. So in addition to having privacy in the land trust, you have liability protection by having the LLC. Well, a lot of people ask, well, why bother with the land trust? Why don't I just own each property in different LLCs? Two reasons for that. Number one, it's expensive to create an LLC for each and every property. Number two, it's the factor of having too many LLCs creates a fiction where if you have one LLC for each property, the whole thing could fall like a house of cards because you can't keep each and every LLC legal, separate, and distinct. So the strategy would be to have each and every property owned or titled in a separate land trust, and then the beneficiary of that land trust or 2 or 3 land trusts be an LLC, and then having maybe 2 or 3 LLCs, one for every 3 or 4 properties, depending on how much equity you have. That gives you a layer of privacy protection in addition to a layer of liability protection. Remember, a limited liability company is formed under state law and is public record. So generally, the owners and managers of the LLC is something that anybody can look up. So while a limited liability company does give you liability protection, it doesn't necessarily give you any privacy, the financial privacy part. Whereas having each and every property in a separate land trust with different LLCs underneath, you get both privacy and the benefit of protection. As you can see, the land trust and LLC is not one or the other, but actually used quite well together as a team. One for privacy, one for protection. And, of course, if you don't have it already, you're going to want to pick up both my land trust and limited liability home study courses, available at my website at legalwiz.com, or call my 800 number, 800-655-3632, and ask for your special discount for watching this video. This is Bill Bronchick, and thanks for joining.